What's going on YouTube? This is Technology Mafia, and I'm in a hotel room because I'm in Guam for work, but I wanted to put together this video and show you a comparison between these two watches. It's Seiko versus Citizen. So here we go. Okay, so here are the two watches next to each other. Citizen on the right, Seiko on the left. And let's take a closer look at the dials. You could immediately see the similarities between these two watches. Both of these have black face dials. Both of them are 38mm cases. The Citizen is slightly thinner at 9mm in thickness versus the Seiko's 11mm. You don't really notice that very much, however you do notice the weight difference. The Seiko feels a bit heavier than the Citizen. Both watches are pretty easy to read. The Citizen has a more classic dial with the hours labeled, whereas the Seiko has the minutes labeled more prominently. You can immediately see the smooth, fluid motion of the seconds hand on the Seiko versus the normal ticking of the Citizen. The Seiko has a Hardlex front crystal glass, whereas the Citizen just has a mineral crystal glass. I found that in my experience, the Seiko does keep scratches away slightly better than the Citizen. So the big difference between these two watches is the movement. So the Citizen is a solar-powered eco-drive watch, which means you probably can't see it in this light because of the reflection, but there's effectively a small solar panel on the very front of this, and it gets charged by either sunlight or artificial light, and when fully charged it lasts up to 6 months, which means if you have it out in direct sunlight and then you put it in a closet in complete darkness, this watch will run for 6 months before it needs another recharge. And once the power reserve level starts decreasing, you will see that the second hand, instead of ticking once, it'll tick every 2 seconds to tell you, hey, you need to recharge. The back has just a stainless steel screw back with the Citizen eco-drive logo. There it is. The Seiko, on the other hand, is an automatic watch, so it is self-winding. And because of that, you see the fluid motion again. On the very back, it is an open case back, and you could see the movement. So the power reserve on this, I believe, is rated at something like 40 hours. I'm getting a little less in my few years of owning it. If you don't wear your watch every day, then this will stop working, and then you will have to shake it to wind it back up. I found that on the weekends when I don't wear my watch, if I'm just staying in for the day, then I will always typically have to reset it. Whereas the Citizen, you don't have to worry about that. The Citizen has a much larger crown. You can see it has little crown guards here, and it's pretty simple to operate. It's pull push, and you could adjust both the day and the date as well as the time. It's located at the 3 o'clock position. The Seiko has a much smaller crown located at the 4 o'clock position. Same operation, pull push. You could adjust the day and the date as well as the time. When you pull it out completely, the second hand does not stop, so it does not have the hacking feature that many talk about. This is a 21 joule automatic movement, and it is very reliable. It's a long-lasting movement. I've dropped this watch several times and it still works great. Another difference that you can probably tell is the band, and I'll tell you from my experience, the Citizen band is much higher quality and much better. Here's the Seiko band, just to give you an idea. After about, how long have I had this? About 2 years. And you could see the little holes that I use are pretty worn out. This leatherette material is pretty worn. The back doesn't look too attractive either. It's nowhere near as comfortable. It's a little flimsy and cheap feeling. And the way it sits on the wrist is kind of odd at times as well. The very end has a tendency to fray like this, which is unfortunate. The Citizen Band, much nicer quality. It has these metal belt, I guess these loops. Has some stitching, extra stitching with padding here. A nicer buckle. Overall, the way that this sits is a lot better on my wrist. The inside is some sort of fake leather, vinyl is my guess, but it's a much nicer band. So if you are planning on buying the Seiko, I would recommend you purchase a nicer band because it'll make wearing this watch so much more rewarding for you. Now let's talk about which one I like more. So brand, when I talk about the brand, I do prefer Seiko over Citizen. So as a brand, the Seiko is better. However, as a watch, I have to say that the Citizen is a better watch because of a number of reasons. Number one, I prefer the dial. Number two, I do prefer this kind of polished finish. It looks nice. It does get a little scratched, so it may seem not as nice looking after a while in comparison to the Seiko, but I do like the polished look of this. The band is better, as I mentioned before, and this watch is just accurate. You don't have to worry about it. You set it once and it is accurate for as long as I've had it, for 3-4 months. I've never had to reset the time. Seiko is the more emotional choice because it's an automatic watch, and there's something very special about owning and having an automatic watch. You can hear the slight ticking, and it's very fast, and it's a very cool thing. You can put this watch up to your ear and you can hear it working, and the sweeping hand is awesome. However, I've owned 3 of these now, and the accuracy isn't quite there. You can adjust them, and that's a key. There's 2 little adjustment, well, there's 1 little adjustment that you can make back here. You do have to take the back case off to make the adjustment. However, in my experience, this watch currently is about 3 minutes fast every week, so it's nowhere near as accurate as the Citizen. So overall, if you are looking for a budget, entry-level Japanese watch, you can't go wrong with either one of these. Currently, I prefer the Citizen, but I have future plans of purchasing another Seiko model, and we will see how I like that one. So that is it for this quick comparison. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them below, like this video, etc., etc. Thank you.